Hello, everyone, and welcome to the August edition of Live from the Adelphi PAC Living Room. My name is Blythe Daylong. I am the Executive Director of the Adelphi University Performing Arts Center. Thank you so much for choosing to spend some time this summer with Adelphi. Now, while we're on our break, before school starts in just a couple of weeks, we continue to use this show to begin to bring Adelphi's talented students, faculty, staff, alumni, and other guests to you each month. Now, on this episode, I'll be speaking with Adelphi alum Jim Altamore about his life and career that started at Adelphi as an accountant, where he got his degree, and now has him performing songs from the Great American Songbook all around Long Island, as well as the world. Now, I'll also talk more about our upcoming fall season and share some music from Norm Lewis near the end of the show. So my guest this week, as I mentioned, is the wonderfully talented singer Jim Altamore. He's an Adelphi graduate from the 70s as an accountant. He got his BBA from Adelphi, but after years in the music industry, he finally started performing himself. Now, he wasn't available this evening, so we recorded our conversation earlier over the weekend. Now, before we get to that, we'll start with a compilation of him performing with an orchestra in France as part of the celebration they did a few years ago of Frank Sinatra's 100th birthday. Now, here's some performance and conversation with the fantastic Jim Altamore. Enjoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jim Altamore.
Thank you. Merci. Hey, how did all these people get in my room? One of Frank's sayings. Come fly with me, let's fly away. If you can use some exotic booze, there's a bar in far Bombay. Come on and fly with me, let's fly away. Sacrifice anything, come what might, for the sake of having you near, in spite of a warning voice that comes in the night and repeats how it yells in my ear. Don't you know, you fool, there's no chance to win. Why not use your mentality? Get up, wake up to reality. Time I do, just the thought of you makes me stop just before I begin. Night and day, you are the one, only you, neath the moon or under the sun. Whether near to me or far, it's no matter, baby, where you are, I think of you. Day and night, and guess who sighs his lullabies through nights that never end. My fickle friend, the summer wind, the summer wind. One summer wind through the summer wind. More than you'll ever know, my arms, they long to hold you so. My life will be in your keeping, awake and sleeping, laughing and weeping. Longer than always is a long, long time, but far beyond forever, you'll be mine. I know I never lived before, and my heart is very sure no one else could love you more. No one else could love you more.
And great. So that gives you just a little taste of the music of Jim Altamore, who I am thrilled is joining us today. Welcome, Jim.
Thank you. Thank you, Blythe. Nice to be here. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for taking the time to join us and to talk a little bit about your music and the great things that you've done there. But we're going to start with why you're here in the first place, which is you are an alum of Adelphi from back in the day. You got your BBA, I believe, at Adelphi. So tell us about just a little about your time at Adelphi and what you studied and how that kind of led into your career first and then into your music.
Yeah. I tell you, I can't believe it's been that long. 1974. It's been a while, you know. My time at Adelphi was spent basically. I was a commuting student, so I lived out in Center Reach. And at the time, it wasn't a big deal driving in. Traffic wasn't as bad as it is today, you know. So I decided to major in accounting, and spent my 4 years there studying under some really good, professors, and in general, the experience at Delphi was good. Unfortunately, I couldn't spend as much time on campus as I would have liked to because I worked as well.
Sure. I mean, that is
classes,
still the case for most of our students now. So,
Yep. My dad made a deal with me at the time. He said, I'll buy you a car to get back and forth to school, but you have to pay for school. So,
okay.
At the time, tuition wasn't what it is today.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that was the deal we made, and I did the whole routine with the student loans and everything else, and took the 10 years to pay them back and everything else, that whole thing.
Yep.
While I was there at Adelphi, I took part in. I played on the freshman basketball team.
Okay.
That was fun, and got a chance to meet a lot of nice people and so on and so forth. It was good. But basically, I went to class and then went home and then went to work and did it all again the next day. I think I got a good education there. As a matter of fact, one of my nieces is there right now in the graduate program.
Oh, great.
Yeah. I'm glad she decided to attend. And that's it. It's nothing exciting really, but I did get a good education, and I liked the school and the professors I had, and so on. So, that's about the summarizes everything.
Sure. So, how did your career in accounting then lead you into music and into the career you've had on the singing side of things?
Okay, so what happened was I graduated and I was looking for a job. And
as one does, right?
As one does, I was just out there looking, and it happened to be that my dad's cousin was the president of a small record label called Delight Records.
Okay.
And I was always interested in music. I didn't play an instrument. I sang, but I didn't know my voice was any different than anyone else's, really. It was just a natural thing around the house. My parents both could sing, but they never did anything beyond, just in the house and so on. So we were visiting my dad's aunt, his Aunt Mary. I'll never forget this. And she said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm looking for a job." So she calls her son, my father's cousin, Fred, and says, Fred, James is looking for a job. So he gets me on the phone and he says, listen, you can start Monday. Come down here to the record label. So that was my entree into the music business.
All right.
And
Sure.
now they had a major act on the label at the time called Kool and the Gang. And they were great funk jazz band, and later on really exploded on the scene when they added a bona fide lead singer. So I worked there for a little while, and it was a small label, needless to say, a mom and pop type label. And eventually I moved on to working at Atlantic Records.
Okay.
Now that was the big jump, you know. I spent a few years at Atlantic. I was in the area of business affairs. So I got involved in the whole royalty system there, paying the artists, analyzing the contracts, you know. So I was on the business end of the music business.
Sure.
You know, I didn't have much contact with the artists, except when their management came to visit to discuss issues regarding payments and so on and so forth. You know, but I was in the vibe, so to speak. You know?
Right. You were connected in some ways. Yeah,
I was connected, but you know, performing hadn't really crossed my mind. You know, at the time I said, well, you know, rock and roll's not going to be it. Rock and roll's a whole different bag. It's about a vibe. It's about a look. It's about an attitude. It's about that whole thing. You know, it's just not about music. So I said, you know, that wasn't going to be something. Anyway, from Atlantic Records, I moved on to working for a CPA firm, actually, that specialized in royalty accounting or royalty audits. So I did some audits for groups like Chicago. You know, so I'd visit the label. They were on Columbia at the time. I'd go up there and check their records and so on and so forth, you know, and put together these claims. Did one for the Guess Who up in Canada. And so I was still involved in the business. Eventually, I left that end of the business and morphed into working for a couple of defense contractors, believe it or not.
Okay.
One was Fairchild out here on Long Island in Farmingdale, and worked there for a while. And then they closed the plant. We all got laid off. And I wound up at Sperry Corporation in Great Neck. I spent a number of years there. The bulk of my time was at Sperry Corp. And I was involved in R&D and marketing because I had pretty good technical aptitudes, you know. So I was able to kind of take the finance and the technical side and put them together and deal with the technologies and the financial aspects of it. Again, now while I was at Sperry Corp, this music thing in me started bubbling up.
Okay.
And it started to become a real nagging problem, actually, because I felt that I was at a point in my life where I had to do something with it, because it was a real source of frustration for me. So I met, you know, no matter what corporation you're in, whether it's in the music business or out of the music business, there are always musicians around, people that played but you know didn't pursue it professionally, right?
Absolutely.
So I met a singer, one of the guys, and we started talking about music and singing and so on. And I told him what I was about, and he took me to his voice teacher, and she heard me sing and said to him, "Don't let this guy stop." So with that, he connected me with a jazz group, and these guys would get together. They were from other professions, and they'd get together once a week at one of the guys' houses, and they'd have a jam session. So I was invited down, and I would sing like a half a song. You know, I was just putting my toe in the water, so to speak.
Sure.
And they heard something that they liked, and they were very encouraging. And that kind of lit the flame, you know, when people recognize something special in you. So did that for a little while, and then we got a gig here and there, and I started getting my feet wet, you know, being on stage in front of an audience. And at the same time, these backing tracks were starting to come out.
Okay.
You know, and I came across them and got an idea to use them as to perform by myself.
Okay.
So again, I left Sperry Corp and I was working for ADP Corp out on the island, and someone hired me to sing at a party, and they had the track. I had the tracks, and I went in and I gave it to the DJ, and he played the tracks, and I sang, and it went over pretty big.
Okay, great.
So I said, you know, this might be something in this, because now, you know, DJs are taking over the wedding business, so to speak.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And I had this idea. Take the tracks, find DJs that want to work with me, sell me on a wedding. You know, I'll come in during the main course.
Right. Right.
You play the tracks.
Yeah. The DJ plays for a while. You come in, you do some songs.
I do the set. I'm done. I leave. Boom. We're done. And I started doing that about 25 years ago. And I'm still doing it, by the way.
Sure. That's a great gig.
No, it's a great gig because you're in and you're out. You're not there for the 4 hours. You show up a half hour before. You know the guys. They have your tracks. It's good music. Yep. I just come out and sing. I don't do any shtick, no routine, nothing. Just walk out, sing, let the people take from the performance what they want, you know? Yeah. And it's a nice little addition to it breaks up the event.
Right. Yeah. It kind of gives them the best of both worlds where, you know, you've got the DJ and all the songs that people want to hear, but then you also have some live music as well and a live singer. So, yeah.
Exactly. And then it kind of morphed into making connections. And one day I got a call from a big band was looking for a singer. And by that time, I had studied Sinatra's music pretty comprehensively.
Sure.
You'd say, why Sinatra? Well, my voice is basically the same range as his, okay? And I have the same range. And there's a similarity in the sound. And his style and his approach to singing just appealed to me. It just resonated with me.
Sure.
So it wasn't like I picked him out because he was popular. It was just what it was. It just, you know, grabbed me.
Right. Well, and like you said, your voices are similar and you're into that same kind of genre of music anyway. So it's a natural fit. It feels
a natural fit.
Yeah.
So I got the call for this big band, and I auditioned and got the gig, and then started doing some big band work. It's going back probably a good 20 years or so.
Great.
You know, and so now you start networking with people, different musicians, you know. Then I started working with, I'd get a gig that needed, let's say, a trio. So guys I knew would get, we'd get together and I'd have a trio backing me, and then we'd do similar, you know, standards.
Great.
So that was the whole genesis of, you know, how I became a professional singer. And I was doing it while I was working, you know, it's a side gig. So
yeah, sure.
I mean, so to speak, like so many others.
Many people. Exactly. You know, you do that as you can. And then as it becomes more and more a part of your life, you you shift your focus a little bit, and you put out probably your first album during that time, right?
My first album came out in boy, I tell you, it was a confluence of a lot of events taking place at the same time. I was working in the city in high-rise construction, believe it or not, as a supervisor,
Okay.
and had the opportunity to record my first CD. The whole idea behind it was to do standards and try not to bring Sinatra in as much as possible. You know, he casts a long shadow.
Yeah.
So no matter what you do,
especially over that kind of music, I mean, it's hard to do standards and avoid Sinatra. You know.
no, you almost can't do it. You know, how many people say, do a Sinatra song? Well, the song might have been written by, Cole Porter, and it was introduced by Fred Astaire in a movie.
Right. Exactly.
But
Yeah.
Frank grabs a hold of it and modernizes it, so to speak, and it becomes a Sinatra song.
Right.
So
Yep.
you just can't get away from it. My MO is just not to talk about him, not to try to do him. My
Sure.
MO is to come out, sing, be myself, and let people take from it what they wish. I think that gives a certain level of authenticity to it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So you're not trying to be an impersonator show. You're
No, I'm not a tribute
doing your own
act,
thing, but yeah, exactly.
which are proliferating with most of the rock bands nowadays.
Oh yeah.
That have
Believe me,
stopped.
I get emails from all of them.
Do you?
Oh yeah, that are. I mean, that's what they're doing, and they're trying to book gigs, and it's like, okay, well, you can't have this artist anymore, or you're not a big enough place to have this artist, but we'll do the same show. It's like,
Yeah. So anyway, found a producer. He put together a band for me. Great jazz musicians. All of these cats, had pretty good resumes. They never played together before this album, the first album.
as often happens with those studio musicians and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. I didn't have charts. I just had the songs, met with the piano player a few times, went over the keys, went over the approach to each song. And then we went into the studio and knocked out the CD in like 2 days, which for budgetary reasons, I don't have to tell you how expensive it can be.
Yeah.
So we did that in about 2 days. It was a decent product. There are, some Sinatra hints in it in terms of some of the choices of songs, but it wasn't about him. I mean, we did, I threw a few songs in that, something Joe Williams did, something Bobby Darin did, something Johnny Hartman had done. But so that was it. That's the first album. At that time, I'll segue into the Broadway thing, if you don't mind.
Great, absolutely.
I was on this is before Facebook. I was on an email group, and it was about Sinatra. And a lot of these people knew him and so on. They were collectors, and they were really pretty fanatical about him. So I was on this group, and they talk about music and songs and blah, 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 what, all this Sinatra stuff. And I let them know that my CD was out. And someone on the group, no, I'm going to go back. Hold that thought for a moment.
Sure.
While I was at while the CD came out, I was also doing some gigs up in the Bronx, some of the feasts up there on Arthur Avenue and so on, I don't. You know, you can imagine. You got a big Sinatra contingent up there. They love that stuff.
Yeah.
As do so many other people. But
Sure.
they brought me in to do some performances. That came to the attention of Chaz Palminteri, who was from that area.
Right.
He grew up there. And I was asked to go to his house to do a performance for a political fundraiser. So I thought it was just going to be, you know, he had a setup in the backyard, a tent and so on. I thought it was just going to be the DJ will play some of my stuff and I'll just sing a little bit and, you know, add to the ambiance
Sure.
of the
Sure.
day. So though Chaz announces to everybody, ladies and gentlemen, Jim Altamore was going to do a concert for us.
Oh.
So let's go into the house. So he has a nice sizable house with a big lobby. So everything was set up in there. And I did about an hour for a sit down audience. So it wasn't people walking around having hors d'oeuvres and stuff. It was
Right.
People was sitting down. They were like you were in a club.
Sure. Yeah.
So I did the performance and he must have liked what he heard. And sometime after that, I got a call from him saying, I'm doing a Bronx Tale on Broadway. It's a one-man show, but I'd like to use your rendition of Fly Me to the Moon in the play instead of Sinatra's. So what am I going to say, right?
I mean, of course. Right.
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
No brainer. So in the first act, you hear Sinatra singing Fly Me to the Moon, but it's not him, it's me. And it's just in the background. And
Yeah.
that's how that came about, that song.
That's great. Well, we have a video of you performing Fly Me to the Moon. Now, obviously, it's not the performance that was used in the play. It is a performance of that you did with this band in France that we're going to talk about next.
Okay.
For your latest album. But
Yep.
for now, let's enjoy you performing the great classic Fly Me to the Moon.
Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, baby, kiss me. Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you and you and you. Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you.
Great. Well, so that was, as we saw, "Fly Me to the Moon," the great Frank Sinatra classic. So, which is fantastic and great that you got to be heard doing that on Broadway as part of that show that has had such a great life, and in theater, and then as and also as a movie, and then as a musical, and all those things. So to have that association is really fantastic, and also I'm sure was a nice little, is a great calling card for you to have for your own music that then has led to even more. So tell us about your latest project and this new project that you've been doing with a group with a band over in France, and sort of how that came about, and take us through that.
So, as I had mentioned previously, I was on this male group, and we talk about it was Sinatra centric, and I had told them that my first CD was out, and it happened to be that one of the people on that group was from France. So shortly after, I got an email from the music director for the band, the Côte West Orchestra in France, and he said, "Would you be interested in coming over here to front the band, to do a few gigs? It's about the Sinatra songbook." I thought it was a joke at the time. I said, "You got to be kidding me,"
Yeah.
So I verified that it was on the up and up.
Sure.
So I said, "Of course I'll come over." So we worked out the details, and I flew over. I did 3 gigs with the band. I guess the audience sizes were about 2,000 people for each gig.
Okay.
And it went over well. I sold a few of my CDs there while I was there. Nice people, great audience, great food, needless to say. They actually eat well before those gigs, I have to tell you. I was surprised. I try to eat light. No, we had meals.
Okay.
A whole bit. It was great. It was really good.
Excellent.
So that's how I got to France. Then came back and did my usual stuff between the wedding work, and then big band gigs occasionally, and then a jazz gig here and there. And then actually in 2015, about a year before, 2014, I got another message from the music director of the orchestra in France there, and he said, "Listen, we're going to be doing a big celebration of Frank Sinatra's 100th birthday. Would you want to come back?" He says, "And by the way, I'm adding a whole string section to the band, so we're having a 40-piece orchestra for this one."
Nice.
So, of course, a no-brainer again. I'll be there.
Yeah.
It happened to be that the opening night, I think that we were doing about 8 performances in different cities on the sort of the west coast of France.
Okay.
Very nice. Happened to be that the day before the first performance, I had a wedding to sing at here. So, once I give someone my word, I'm going to be there for the performance. So I told them I'm going to have to fly in on the morning of the first performance, if that's okay, because I had a contractual obligation here.
Yep.
So that's what I did. I knew the songs we were going to do, but regardless of that, when you're in front of a new venue, a new group of musicians,
Absolutely.
it still puts you on your toes. You just don't walk in there like it's a routine thing. So anyway, I flew in, hopped on a train, took a 3-hour bullet train to the West Coast. They picked me up at the station. We went right to the rehearsal hall where we were going to do the first gig. Ran through a rehearsal, and then at 8 o'clock, there we go, 2,000 people, and I just said, you know what? Let's just wing it. We go.
Yeah.
I've been doing this a long time. So much of it's internalized already. But let's see. Now, a few of the songs in that, at that concert, and that are on the new CD, it was the first time I performed them. So, it's not like I walked out there and, thinking about other things while I was singing. I really had to focus on getting those songs across to the audience, and luckily got through it. And then we proceeded to do other concerts, during the week.
Right.
There was some duets, which you heard on the CD with the band's main singer, Veronica Rodriguez. So we did a couple of those, and needless to say, by the end of the week, we were in the pocket,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Music
Absolutely.
and so on. We were cooking. It was so it was a great experience. So what happened was, I didn't know that they recorded this, all these particular performances.
Right, because all the video we've seen comes from those performances, right?
Yes, all the videos from those performances, they videoed everything. Now, they videoed the stuff from the first time I was in France. That was also taped. And I got a DVD of that and so on. It was fine. It was good. It gives you a nice calling card,
Yeah, of course.
And then this one they did too, because I had asked them if they were going to do it, and he told me no at the beginning, before I arrived. So I didn't think that they would videoing anything.
Yeah.
So lo and behold, I find out that they videotaped. So now I come back to the States, and about a month later, the videos are starting to surface on YouTube. I said, "Wow, this is great. I can use this stuff," and so on. It took me a while. I started to think about, geez, it would be nice if I could put something out on audio on a CD, because people generally aren't going to be buying DVDs of your performances, especially when you're not famous.
Right. Sure, of course.
So I contacted Jean-Philippe Vidal, who was the music director there, and I asked him if they recorded anything or have any audio from the performances. So he said, yes, we do. And I said, well, would you mind if I use them to put out a CD here in the States? And he said, not at all. So he sent me an SD card, and I plugged it into my computer and found that it wasn't a stereo recordings here. They were the individual tracks.
Oh, wow. Even better.
Yeah. So I'm sitting here with 40 track recordings. So I said, well, I can't do anything at home with this. So I went to the studio.
Yeah. And
we plugged it in, and my engineer said, "Geez, you got 40 tracks here." So we got every instrument is mic'd. So we can, it was a live performance. We can clean things up, ambient sounds, musicians making noise, somebody coughing, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we cleaned it up, and I produced it basically, chose the material that I wanted to include, sequencing it, so it gives some semblance of some continuity from song to song. And that's how the new CD came about. And I wasn't thinking of it from a commercial standpoint. It was more to memorialize what I did.
Absolutely. Well, and especially if there's that high quality of a recording of it, you might as well take the extra time to really clean it up and turn it into something that that you can share and that people can enjoy. I mean, that's excellent.
Exactly. And so it's out there on Pandora, Spotify, Amazon, iTunes.
Sure.
Pandora thought enough of it that they allowed me to have my own station. So there's a Jim Altamore station, Jim Altamore Radio on Pandora. So
Great.
people want to listen to me, they can do it there. People aren't buying physical CDs as much anymore.
Yeah.
Everybody's streaming.
No, exactly. Well, and it's great that that's out there along with your first album, that it's available on all the places people get music. I would encourage folks to head to your website, which is as simple as jimaltamore.com, where you can get links to all those pieces of music. There's some more videos on there. There's some other clips of things from this, a little more of your story. And also I'll say information to get a hold of you. If people are interested in seeing more of your work or booking you somewhere or getting your music, because it's really great and it's just excellent music. We're going to play one more song at the end of the show tonight, and just to give people one more piece of music from you. But in the meantime, I do encourage everybody to head to your website to get more info about you, and to thank you again for taking the time to be here. Tell us your story and share some of your music and how you've kind of gone on from your time at Adelphi as in accounting, and how that has led to a great career doing music and some fun adventures that you've had along the way. So,
well, thank you for allowing me to tell my story. It might be inspirational for other people, because you never know where things are going to wind up in life.
Absolutely, that's right, and that it doesn't necessarily, it can happen later. It might not be what you're thinking right now, and that it may come out, after a while. It's like, oh, I think I'm interested in this, and maybe let me see what that can be. So
that's absolutely it.
Yeah.
And you follow as I tell the family, follow your heart, trust your gut.
Yeah.
Because if it's in you, most of the time it needs to come out. And that was really what happened. I needed to do this. It wasn't something that I could take or leave. Got to a point where it had to be done, and so it's been good. It's been good. It's been fun, and I'm still having fun with it. That's the main thing. It's never work.
Absolutely. Well, that's the most important part. So so it's good.
Absolutely.
Well, great. Well, thank you again, Jim. It was great to have you here and great to talk. And we will certainly be looking for more of your music and check you out, hopefully here around Long Island.
Well, Blythe, thank you very much. Appreciate you having me on. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And thank you again to the fantastic Jim Altamore. We are already talking about getting him here to perform at Adelphi at the PAC sometime in 2022. So stay tuned for more from Jim and his band. And I do, again, encourage you to head to his website. Now, it is summer, so things are quiet around the PAC. They continue to be for another couple weeks anyway, and campus. But we are working hard on pulling the plans together for next season. The fall is pretty much set, and we are just working on the finishing touches. And so tickets will be going on sale to Adelphi PAC members beginning on Tuesday, August 24th. They'll be going on sale to the general public on Tuesday, September 7th. And our box office will reopen for in-person and phone sales beginning on Tuesday, August 31st. So until then, you can do everything online. over the course of this week. Our website will be filling up with all the great shows we have coming in the fall. I talked about a bunch of them on last month's show. Keep an eye on your mailbox and your email box for announcement regarding our upcoming season. We have a lot of great student and guest artist performances already scheduled. We look forward to having full audiences back in person at the PAC beginning in September. Now, a few of our events will also be live streamed, particularly several of our student productions, but everything will have live audiences in person as well. Now, one show that is coming this fall that I mentioned last month, and I'm going to mention again because we are going to share a little bit from it, is our Christmas concert that is the incredibly talented Norm Lewis, Tony nominee. He is starring on Broadway this fall in the play Chicken and Biscuits, but he is taking the night off from that show to come to Adelphi for his holiday concert on Friday, December 7th. So here, with a little preview of Norm and some songs you might be hearing at that concert. It is not a Christmas song because it is August, and I am just not ready to hear that yet. But here is the fantastic and wonderful Norm Lewis, who will be back at Adelphi this December. Enjoy.
No one here to guide you. Now you're on your own. Only me beside you. Still you're not alone. No one is alone. Truly no one is alone. Sometimes people leave you halfway through the wood. Others may deceive you. You decide what's good. You decide alone. But no one is alone. People make mistakes. Fathers, mothers, people make mistakes, holding to their own, thinking they're alone. Honor their mistakes. Everybody makes one another's terrible mistakes. Witches can be right. Giants can be good. You decide what's right. You decide what's good. Just remember, someone is on your side. Someone else is not. While you're seeing your side, maybe you forgot. They are not alone. No one is alone. Hard to see the light now. Just don't let it go. Things will turn out right now. We can make it so. Someone is on your side. Someone is on your side. Careful, no one is alone. Believe me, no one acts alone. You are not alone.
Well, that just about wraps up another edition of Live from the Adelphi PAC Living Room. We have one more song from Jim Altamore to close out that is coming up in just a few moments. There is a lot more to announce about the fall. Again, I talked about a lot of it on last month's show. That will be coming soon in emails and postcards and all sorts of things coming out. So be sure, once again, to sign up, head to our website, as always, pac.adelphi.edu to sign up for the email list. Make sure you are among the first to know about everything that's going on. I am looking forward to welcoming everyone back in the fall. We are thrilled to have audiences back, although we are trying to remember all the things that we have to do when we have audiences in person that we haven't had to do in a year and a half now. So yeah, there's that, but we'll be ready. We'll be ready in September when this all starts back up again. Now I'll be back on Monday, September 13th with the next edition of this show, back here live on YouTube and Facebook. That episode will be a true sneak preview of our fall season with lots of guests, many of the performers that are going to be joining us in the fall here at the PAC will be on that show in September. Some of our folks from our departments, all kinds of things are still in the works. So you do not want to miss that show on Monday, September 13th. And then once we get into the school year, we'll probably be back a little more frequently with this show rather than just monthly, but who knows? We'll see what happens. I don't know. That's so far away. I can't even think about it. So for now, stay safe, stay healthy. Please make sure you and your loved ones get vaccinated. And we'll see you. I'll see you again on September 13th. And I will see you in person shortly after that as we have performances back at the PAC. So with that, enjoy this final performance from Adelphi's class of 1974, the wonderfully talented Jim Altamore. Enjoy.
Night and day, you are the one. Only you, 'neath the moon or under the sun. Whether near to me or far, it's no matter, darling, where you are. I think of you day and night and day. Why is it so that this longing for you follows wherever I go? In the roaring traffic's boom, in the silence of my lonely room, I think of you day and night and day. Under the hide of me, is there no such a hungry yearning burning inside of me? And its torment won't be through till you let me spend my life making love to you day and night and day. Day, you are the one, only you, 'neath the moon or under the sun. Whether near to me or far, it's no matter, baby, where you are. I think of you day and night and day. That this longing for you follows wherever I go. silence of my lonely room, I think of you. Day and night, night and day, under the hide of me is an oh such a hungry yearning burning inside of me, and its torment won't be through till you let me spend my life making love to you day and night, night and Well, thank you. Merci. Cole Porter. Cole Porter's great, great, great song.